Today we're flying out of Philadelphia International Airport and into El Paso, Texas. We're going to be taking a trip where we're going to visit White Sands, Carlsbad Cavern, and Guadalupe Mountains National Park. In this video, I'll be covering our visit to White Sands National Park. So we're just driving along in our rental car, and I wanted to show you what the landscape looks like as you approach the park. Our first stop is the visitor center. We're going to stamp our passport book and rent some sand sleds. So the sleds cost $25 new or $20 used at the gift shop. And then you buy a $3 bar of wax, and you definitely need the wax. So when you get to the visitor center, there's two gift shops. You rent the sled from the gift shop that doesn't have the park ranger stationed in it. And after you're done with the sleds, if you return them to the gift shop, you'll get a $5 voucher towards anything you want to purchase in the shop. Now, the park ranger suggested that if we want to go sand sledding, we should go all the way down Dune Drive to Alakai Flats or the backcountry area. And Alakai Flats are the highest dunes in the park, the tallest ones. One thing to be mindful of is you go down Dune Drive, the road turns into sand, so be careful with your driving. It's a little tricky to drive on the sand. It tends to be a bit slippery where it's not fully packed down. The landscape is just incredible. The glistening white sand, the dunes as far as you can see. It's just beautiful. The sand is pretty unique up close. In some spots, it's like hardened and packed. Then in other spots, you see the waves where the wind has blown and it's super soft. So we're just walking over. You can walk over to any dune you want and go sand sledding. So the kids are trying to find that perfect dune that they want to try. Where do the kids want to go? Okay.
Why are you leaving your sled?
All right, everybody, this is Sarah. I've got my wax here. I've got my sled. And we're about to go sledding here at White Sands National Park in New Mexico. So the sand here is white sand composed of gypsum crystals, and this gypsum dune field is actually the largest of its kind on Earth. And some of the dunes can be about 30 feet deep and about 60 feet tall, and it's pretty amazing. There's about 4.5 billion tons of gypsum sand here. So the most popular months to visit the park are in the warmer months like March through August. So we are here in January, and from November through February, this is the time of year that the park has the least amount of visitors. So you really can space out, and yet the climate is so mild. We just have on sweatshirts. My son's in short sleeves. This place is so insanely beautiful. Like the sparkling sand. It feels fairly warm here today, even though it's winter. And it's the kind of place where you can definitely find a spot all to yourself. And I'm going to tell you, the hardest part about sand sledding is climbing back up the dunes. It is exhausting. It's often best if you walk to the end of the dune and kind of go up more gradually, but that requires more walking. The kids are trying to go straight back up, and like the sand gives out from you. It's really difficult. Wow, that was good. So there's only about 4 hiking trails here in this national park. Since we spent so much time sand sledding, we only had time to hike the Interdune Boardwalk Trail. And this is just a really short boardwalk trail that takes you out and explains some of the different like plants and animals that live here in the park. So White Sands National Park in New Mexico has a lot of the old signs that say White Sands National Monument. This was originally made a national monument by President Herbert Hoover in 1933. Since 1941, the park is totally surrounded by White Sands Missile Range and Holloman Air Force Base. In 2019, it was signed by law, but as a national park by President Trump. So some of the sign still reflects the old national monument, even though it really is an official national park now. One thing that I really thought was cool was that the visitor center, the restrooms, the ranger residences, and some maintenance buildings are all this adobe brick style, and they were constructed by the Works Progress Administration in 1936. So I think it's really cool that they have these older style buildings here in the park. So as soon as we're done with this hike, we're going to stop back at the visitor center, return our sleds, and my kids are going to turn in their junior ranger booklets. This is just something like they've done since they were little kids. When we visit the parks, they fill out the booklets and collect the badges. And I think they've got something like over 220 badges at this point. So they're not as into it as when they were little kids, but it's something that they want to keep going with their collection. As always, thank you for watching. We really appreciate it when you like and you comment and you subscribe to our channel. Like I mentioned, this is the first park in a series of 3 national parks we're going to be visiting. So stay tuned. Our next park is going to be Carlsbad Caverns, and you don't want to miss it.